Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan and I am smiling because we finally have some good news about Star Wars. It's been a while. Disney recently released a trailer for a new season of The Clone Wars. And the timing couldn't be better because a lot of hardcore fans do like the Clone Wars series, and a lot of those hardcore fans also have been feeling pretty negative towards Disney and Star Wars lately. And it's really about time they did this too, because when the Clone Wars series was prematurely canceled, there were still a few seasons that were being planned. Today we're going to be taking a look at those canceled episodes and making a few guesses of our own to bring you 12 stories that might be in the new Clone Wars season. When the Clone Wars was canceled, a part of Season 7 was split into two novels. One of those novels was Dark Disciple, a surprisingly well-written and enjoyable novel that featured two very unlikely heroes, Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. To summarize, Quinlan Vos was tasked with assassinating Count Dooku for the Jedi Council. A very un-Jedi-like behavior if you ask me. It just goes to show you how messed up the Jedi Council was by this time.
Do it.
But I guess if you are going to get a Jedi to do something like this, you might as well use someone as unorthodox as Quinlan Vos.
Hey, Kenobi. Hey, Commander, looking good? Kenobi, you look worse for wear.
Yes, well, if you could tell time half as well as you could stick a landing, we wouldn't be behind schedule now, would we?
He goes deep undercover and deep inside Asajj Ventress for help with Count Dooku because she used to be, his apprentice. He tried to kill her. She hates him. Whatever, I don't want to ruin the book for you. It is an excellent book. I do recommend you guys check it out. The second novel that came out of the canceled episodes was Ahsoka, which naturally features Ahsoka Tano, one of the most important characters to come out of the Clone Wars cartoons. It should be interesting to see what happens to her after she leaves Jedi Order after being wrongfully accused of bombing the temple. Most likely, one of the battles that she was involved in will be in the new Clone Wars season, and that's the Battle of Mandalore. Otherwise known as the Siege of Mandalore. Maul once again returns leading the fight against the Republic. The last time we saw him, Sidious was throwing him around like a rag doll. We also get to see Captain Rex return and link up with Ahsoka. While Ahsoka and Captain Rex are fighting Maul, Obi-Wan and Anakin are sent to Coruscant, where General Grievous has just launched a separatist raid on the planet and successfully kidnapped Chancellor Palpatine. I would absolutely love to see the Battle of Coruscant fleshed out more. I would love to see separatist droids go toe-to-toe with clone troopers in urban combat in the Federal District. I want to see how Grievous kidnaps Palpatine. Just more Coruscant in general is always a good idea. Another world that we don't get to see enough of is Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk is the home planet of the Wookiees, and covered in a planet-wide forest which rises several miles into the air. It's one of the most dangerous and unique planets in the galaxy. Below the upper layers is a dangerous underworld full of all sorts of crazy monsters and insects, so scary that even Wookiees won't go down there. For most of the Revenge of the Sith, Yoda is hanging out on Kashyyyk. He's leading Wookiee and Republic troops in a campaign against the separatist droids and, of course, the Wookiees' natural enemy, Trandoshans. We also might see Jedi Master Luminara fighting alongside the good guys. Maybe we'll even see Kashyyyk post-Order 66. In Legends, Vader ran around crushing Wookiee babies and killing Jedi.
Where is your master?
The dark side has clouded your mind. You killed my master years ago.
Then now you will share his fate.
It'll also be interesting to see how Yoda escapes from Order 66. While Yoda is hanging out in Kashyyyk, Obi-Wan and Anakin will be in Utapu investigating Jedi Master Tuon's death. While there, they end up uncovering a plot by Separatists to steal a massive kyber crystal, which of course they want to use in a giant weapon, naturally. A story reel was actually released for this episode. There were 4 episodes in total. A thing I always liked about the prequels is the little hints about the Death Star in the background. During the Battle of Geonosis, we see a blueprint of the super weapon in its earliest stages in the hands of Count Dooku. I've always wondered what would have happened had the Separatists held on long enough to develop a super weapon like the Death Star. Another really cool story that was already in production was called Bad Batch. Bad Batch was about a group of specialized clones who were kind of made wrong. Just like in the Republic Commando series, these special clones were quite good at causing mayhem. Although these soldiers were a bit mentally unbalanced, they were undeniably good at their jobs, which usually involved in kicking down doors, blowing things up, and sniping people from several miles away. I'm almost 100% sure this would have been a fan favorite story arc. There's nothing better than the introduction of some new clones, especially rejects like these guys. And I'm pretty sure we even see one of the Bad Batch in the new trailer. So my hopes are up. Speaking about the special clones, another thing I'd really like to see is how clones like Gregor, Wolf, and Rex were able to remove their inhibitor chips. I'd also like to see other clones that removed their chip, because we all know the clones had a very close-knit community. I'm sure if one clone knew about the inhibitor chip, it wouldn't be long before all of his brothers knew about it as well. This, of course, is more based on speculation rather than any knowledge or proof. We're not really sure if this will happen or not. After the removal of the chip, it would also be interesting to see how these clones were able to escape from the Grand Army of the Republic. Again, we seem to be wandering into storylines from the Republic Commando series, and in my opinion, that would be a terrific thing. Now, one of the best, or perhaps worst things that happened in the canceled episodes was a small story about a Yuuzhan Vong scout ship. Growing up, one of the first full series that I read was The New Jedi Order. It covered everything that happened after the original trilogy. Luke basically sets up a new Jedi school. He has a kid with Mara Jade who's really hot, and Han has a bunch of kids who don't try to kill him with Leia. Chewie does get hit by a moon, but everything else is going well until a warrior-like species from another galaxy invades. The Yuuzhan Vong are probably one of the greatest threats to ever face the galaxy. They killed far more people than the Empire ever did and waged a religious war against machines and the species that wielded them. They were basically Luddites who used some weird organic technology that was associated to their religion, which worshiped pain. I think it's a really interesting and fresh take on Star Wars. Other people really hate it, so the jury's still out about this story arc. Anyway, according to sources, the story about the Yuuzhan Vong would have featured a small scout ship. It's apparently traveling in the galaxy in order to abduct individuals in order to see how prepared the Republic is for an invasion. Another interesting piece of lore that could have been explored was the Jedi Temple and what lay underneath it. Similar to many religious structures here on Earth, the Jedi Temple was built on another religious structure, in this case a Sith Shrine. This Sith Shrine has been mentioned various times in previous lore, and some have speculated that it might have even corrupted and blinded the Jedi slowly over the years. Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan would join forces in order to rescue Yoda from the Sith Shrine. Another part of this story would have Darth Sidious trying to break into the Holocron Vault in the Jedi Temple. But he would then run into Ahsoka and try to use Force Lightning on her when she tries to stop him. This would definitely be a cool arc to see. There would definitely be tons of Easter eggs and hints to the prehistory of both the Jedi and Sith Order. The last story arc that was rumored in the canceled season would be the Mon Cala story arc. It would feature Padme's effort to counter Chancellor Palpatine's growing powers. Padme, of course, was a part of the delegation of 2000, a group of loyalist senators who were anti-Palpatine. This included Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and other founding members of the Alliance to restore the Republic. In this story, Padme would travel to Mon Cala with Anakin Skywalker in order to convince King Li Char and the Khorne leader in order to gain support against Palpatine. As we know from the recent Star Wars and Darth Vader comics, things don't go that well for Mon Cala. This is another interesting storyline. Although eventually we know that they will fail, I think it's still cool to see many of these future rebellion leaders try to create change within the political system before they eventually give up and then turn to violence and become freedom fighters. Now, there are two other stories that I would like to see in the new Clone Wars season that aren't really mentioned in the canceled episodes. One is just an overall story about the transition of the Republic to the Empire. I think this is truly a fascinating time in Star Wars history. Overnight, the Republic is toppled and replaced by an Empire. I would like to see people from all walks of life dealing with the transition of powers, from children in academies in the Outer Rim to Coruscant businessmen. I would like to see how clone troopers dealt with the change. Weren't they designed to serve the Republic and not the Emperor? I would really enjoy a collection of short stories that help paint a picture of what the larger galaxy was like during this period of time. Lastly, wouldn't it be awesome to see Order 66 from multiple point of views? At the time, there were still several hundred, if not thousands of Jedi left in the galaxy. It would have been cool to see a few more of these stories play out. Not every Jedi would have been gunned down immediately. Some might escape, some might find ways to fight back. It would also be cool to see what's going on inside the minds of the clone troopers when they have to carry out this order. Well, guys, there you have it. 12 stories that might or might not be in the new Clone Wars season. It should be interesting to see how much they take from the old canceled episodes and how much they just create out of nothing. I hope we see a mixture, actually, because I want to be surprised, but I also want to see some things I kind of expect to be there. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button. Also, you know, we have a new merchandise store, which is down below. The prices are a little better than our old store, which is why we changed. But yeah, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.